So this video is about the content and quality of AMC's The Walking Dead, a television show. It's not about Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead, a graphic novel that is the basis for the television show. I know fuck all about the comics, so if I critique anything that was explained or presented better in the comic, do not bring it to my attention. It's not relevant. Thank you for your understanding, and sorry for being a pleb. So it's been a recurring thought of mine to convey my opinion on AMC's flagship program and commercial juggernaut, The Walking Dead. To sit down and parse together how I feel about the show's quality and presentation over the past 7 seasons. It's a bit of a daunting task, considering the breadth of content on offer. 7 seasons, each with their own set of successes and failures. I considered sifting through the entire thing, episode by episode, critiquing each moment-to-moment decision made by the production team, but that would be exhaustively time-consuming. Probably be more interesting and amusing, but since I like to shoot myself in the foot creatively, I'm going with a long-winded critical dissertation as opposed to a more humorous deconstruction. If you'd like something more in that line, I would definitely recommend going to Adam Johnson's YouTube page, yourmoviesucks.org. I will put a link, not a link, just graphic, here, and you can check that out, because I'm probably going to pillage a few ideas from him. So what I've done is, I guess I just kind of boiled down my thoughts on the show and just to see what floats to the top. Anyway, spoilers, it's mostly shit. So I'm actually a fan of The Walking Dead. Sometimes. I enjoyed the first season and intermittent portions throughout the following seasons. I suppose I'm what sports enthusiasts would call a fair-weather fan. I also refuse to apologize for it, so let's contextualize that. I live a stone's throw away from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
During the protests, one officer was hit in the head by a brick thrown into a squad car. Police then moved in to clear the streets, as you see here, but they say protesters set 4 buildings on fire and threw rocks at the officers. Milwaukee's mayor spoke.
Aside from boiling racial tension, Milwaukee is also home to the Milwaukee Brewers. I can put on a jersey, attend a game, drink myself stupid, and enjoy myself tremendously. I can watch a game on television and be invested in the competition. However, I can't say that the Brewers are an amazing and talented ball club, ever poised to make a World Series run. That would be an outright lie. They do have a few good games from time to time, but routinely fail to even make the playoffs.
One of those rare players that can hit in both positions. And Wainwright strikes him out. Gomez trying to break his bat and will not give up until it dies.
I can remember a few years ago fans were celebrating the statistic of a season over a 500 winning percentage. If that's a good sign, then I'm not a single white male aged 18 to 35. Apply this analogy to The Walking Dead. You don't have to be a vapid twat to justify your enjoyment of something. You can criticize the things that you like. There is absolutely no shame in holding something that you care about to a higher standard. I think I've spent enough time on this Brewers comparison. I need to move on. I don't even really like soccer that much. So, what is the number one problem with The Walking Dead? It's actually a dual diagnosis between the executive network producers and the screenwriting. Many of the prevailing shortcomings are the result of poor writing. whether these issues stem from imposed circumstances by AMC, or whether they are the result of generally lazy or contrived writing to move things along. I don't mean to say that the show has a terrible writing staff, and I don't think it's fair to blame the writers exclusively for this problem, but networks like AMC impose plenty of criteria and restrictions for the writers to have to work with and work around. Budget is a big one. Having a ton of scenes featuring all the main cast blowing shit up is kind of expensive. Having hundreds of extras plastered head to toe in zombie makeup is also very costly. The show takes place in a post-apocalyptic setting, so everything from the characters' appearance and clothing to interior sets and exterior locations has to be dressed up to come in line with making that setting seem believable. There's nothing more immersion-breaking than wondering why a character's hair looks recently shampooed and conditioned, or why lawns in a deserted neighborhood have been cut and maintained. AMC can realistically afford to do all this, but chooses not to a lot of the time. The Walking Dead is the highest rated drama on television in terms of how many people watch the show. It has more eyes on it than fellow dramatic competitor HBO's Game of Thrones. A comparison I make because Game of Thrones always seems to handily throw stacks of money into its production and talent rather than squirrel it away due to budgetary concerns. Also, AMC recently admitted that 2 of the characters on The Walking Dead are in fact indispensable, setting the stage for contract renegotiations that would bring the salaries of Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus more in line with those of Game of Thrones' principal cast members. Since The Walking Dead is commonly thought of as a show where anyone can die at any time, the producers most likely hang this notion over the heads of the cast to ensure that their salaries remain low in favor of steady work on a ridiculously popular show. It's dirty and kind of fucking greedy. Another disclaimer. Many of the accusations that I plan to level at these people are my own speculation. They are based on a combination of internal logic, interviews with former cast and crew members, and reading gossipy tabloid news sites.
DMX is going to basically piss on George Zimmerman.
Do you want to give this some context?
Not everything I say here is an absolute fact. There's a lot of my own opinion and conjecture being expressed as well, so judge certain issues for yourself. Another writing snag that I've noticed on The Walking Dead has to do with its dialogue. Since The Walking Dead is a primetime cable program, they can't always write the most believable lines in terms of language used. At some point, I think a "fuck you" would have been uttered. At some point, someone would have told Lori Grimes to stop acting like a cunt. People would have gotten pissed off and let loose a string of awful obscenities.
Fuck, 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 motherfuck, noise.
This would have happened often. Script writing for television has to skirt around our human fondness for vulgar language in this regard. I understand that this is something you can't really fix with censorship and the rating system, but it is worth noting the absurdity and conflict of ideals at play here. There's a scene in episode 16 of season 4 that depicts the group of protagonists being held at gunpoint. They are forced to watch while Daryl is beaten within an inch of his life, Carl, a child, is prepared to be raped by a grown man, and it is implied that Michonne would be next for similar treatment. Then the assailants plan to execute them all before finally killing Rick after he had witnessed all of this take place. The scene goes on long enough to make all of what's going down unmistakable. The rapey guy even has his fucking pants at his ankles as he bears down on Carl, laughing excitedly as he pushes his face into the dirt. The scene ends with Rick surprising his tormentor by breaking his nose with the back of his head, biting out his jugular, spitting a swath of blood, finally taking a large gutting knife and maliciously disemboweling the rapey guy with it. All while Rick's group shields their eyes in terror and disbelief. All of this happens, and then at the very end of the episode, Rick speaks the line,
"They're screwing with the wrong people."
To say that the line falls flat at that point in the episode is a massive understatement. The line was supposed to be,
"They're fucking with the wrong people."
The producers even tried and failed to get AMC to approve its inclusion. Why?
Why?
Why, after all of that, does the word fuck cross the line? That is fucking baffling.
I'm a brick!
It seems like the network meddles way too much in the writing on a show like this. I get that the example is a problem with no apparent solution at the moment, but it does highlight the problems in how network influence trumps creative integrity. From individual episodes to season and story character arcs, AMC's executives have their fingerprints all over this show. The writing suffers immensely as a result. It's like having a bunch of assholes coming and pissing in your pool. The budgetary and screenwriting issues really shine through in the show's pacing. Season 1 of The Walking Dead is a good example of a well-paced program. It's short, concise, and full of memorable moments. Being only 6 episodes long gives it a bit of an edge there. Quality over quantity was the ideal that made the first season work as well as it did. Now take a look at the subsequent and objectively weaker Season 2. The episode commissioned by the network increased from 6 episodes to 13 episodes. Also, the budget for the show decreased from $3.4 million to $2.7 million. The disparity in pacing and oppressive budgetary restraints are obnoxiously apparent in Season 2. The season holds about a 4-to-1 ratio of good episodes to bad episodes. I'm even being generous to the good episodes by assigning a favorably vague thumbs up or thumbs down grading method. I'll elaborate on the difference by saying good episodes are installments that progress the story's narrative and characters in a significant and meaningful way.
Let's finish this up back at home. Beth collapsed, is in some sort of state. Must be in shock. I think you are too.
What could I do? She needs a mother, or rather to mourn, like she should have done weeks ago.
Whereas bad episodes are simply insubstantial. Episodes that are lousy with muddled goals, petty conflicts, contrived peril, and most of all, filler content. Copious amounts of pointless bullshit stuffed into an episode to stretch out content and fill a running time. A lot of instances in Season 2 had me asking questions like, where the fuck did that zombie come from? Who's watching Carl? Why, after saying she needed to keep a better watch on Carl, is Lori still not watching Carl? What is the point of this conversation? Why is every single female character crying right now? What was the point of that conversation? Why are they arguing about this? Why did they save that dude who shot at them and take him home, only to realize they don't trust him, try to drop him off in the middle of nowhere, fail, bring him back, torture him in a log shed, decide to kill him, then walk that decision back and let him live, only to have Shane fuck off and murder him in the woods? Why are they arguing about that? Why is Lori leaving the farm to go get Rick and bring him back when he left an hour ago and hadn't even had time to actually get in trouble? Also, what good would your dumbass be if he had? Also, how to Christ did you manage to almost hit a random zombie who was the only obstruction for miles on the open road and roll your fucking car? Wait, actually, I know the answer to that one. There's apparently some sort of stipulation for the show that has to include zombies in every single episode, regardless of how contrived or silly the means of the zombies' inclusion is. How is Andrea a crack shot with a pistol after trading with Shane for 5 minutes? Why are you rigging up some dangerous ass rinky-dink bullshit to pull that bloated fucker out of your well? In what world has that goddamn thing not already contaminated your fucking water? Why is Lori sending mixed messages to Shane?
I don't even know whose baby this is.
She knows damn well that he is a jealous and dangerous sociopath. Did she not just ask her husband to do something about Shane due to his volatility like fucking yesterday? And most importantly, who gives a shit?